All right, everybody, welcome back to Ultramorons. It's been a while since I last recorded, but that's how it goes. But anyways, I'm here joined either again if the other episode comes out, or for the first time with Connor.
Yes, maybe it's the first time, maybe not, but yeah, I'm excited to be here and kind of see what this new format is like.
Yes, so I am doing a newer format than, I guess, if you're a listener to the channel. Switched up a little bit, so it's gonna be a little different. Yeah, so my different format, kind of a different style. I guess if you're just listening, it won't be that much different, but it's kind of just a different way of doing the episodes, in which is I'm kind of doing a more chronological thing. So before I was doing kind of the books in order and the Horus Heresy books, but I felt like it was a little, I don't want to say boring, but it was kind of boring. So anyways, what I'm doing now is more of a chronological, historical type of reading where it's like, okay, this is what's happening during this period. So I'm going to reference the books, but it's going to be more of like, this is what this guy's doing, this is what this guy's doing, this is what these guys are doing. And we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it's not too confusing, because I know sometimes if too many characters get introduced and get a little confusing, but we'll see. I don't know. And we'll see how the audience responds to this. So if they like it, then I'll keep doing it. If they don't, then I don't know. Sorry. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, so starting off here, we're going to start from the beginning of the Horus Heresy. So I'm sure you know by now kind of how it all starts. I'm not going to go over all that again. And, well, no, the Emperor goes back to Earth with his guys. He says, I could go take care of something. Horus, you're Warmaster now. You're in charge. And that's kind of where we start off here. So, basically, it is still the Great Crusade, though. So the Great Crusade is a period of, basically, the Emperor is going out and taking over the universe. Because first he was trying to get all of his guys back, all his 20 Primarch sons back. And it took some time. When he gets them all back, they're all together. He says, hey, all right, Horus, you're in charge of the Great Crusade now. I'm going to send you out and go. You got to take my spot while I go take care of something on Earth. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Don't worry about it. And it was kind of a big deal, actually, because everybody's like, oh, yeah, all the sons are together. We're going to go take over the universe together. And then the Emperor's like, never mind, actually. I got to go do something. And I'm not going to tell you what it is. And everybody's like, oh, huh? And Horus, you're in charge.
Yeah, and so I guess before he kind of goes off to Earth and does his thing, is the Emperor on the ground doing this stuff, or is he kind of just
yes.
Okay, so he is.
In the way of Ullanor, he was there to take it over with Horus. They fought, I forgot his name, is some orc war boss, super powerful guy. It's kind of weird, actually, because apparently the fight it was Horus and the Emperor versus this orc war boss. And they were kind of, I don't say struggling, but it took some work to beat him, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. Two of the strongest people in the universe are struggling to beat one guy. I don't know if you've ever watched Invincible.
Yes.
So the first season, you know where it's like Omni-Man and Invincible fighting the kaiju, the sea systems after them? It's like, how are these two, how strong is this thing if Omni-Man and Invincible is struggling to beat it? But whatever, it doesn't matter. It's all power scaling, it's not real. It's whatever the writers want to happen. But yeah, so he helps kill it. They have this huge parade. They basically pave over Ullanor. Like, they turn the planet into a giant parade. This whole planet turns into a giant parade ground. And they have a big parade, and then at the end he says, all right, I'm leaving. Bye-bye. And they go, oh, okay, right. So, yes, he was on the ground doing all this stuff, but he says, I'm going to retire back to Earth and go do the secret project I'm not going to tell anybody about. It was kind of a big deal because they're so used to seeing him with them, especially Horus, who had 30 years alone with the Emperor before he got any other sons.
Oh, so he was like the first one.
He's the first son they found. Yeah. And they had basically 20 to 30 years, just him and Horus hanging out, doing stuff together. So they had a close relationship as well. And eventually they found all the other ones, blah, blah, blah. He leaves, yes. So, but it's still the Great Crusade. Even though the Emperor's left, it's still called the Great Crusade because they're going into the stars and they're gathering up all of humanity. Make sure they get all under one banner of Emperor of Mankind.
Right.
We're going to start in the 157th year of the Crusade. And there's this this planet called Monarchia. And Monarchia is sometimes referred to planets as, like, Monarchia is also 4710. So 47, when I say something like 4710 or 2319 or whatever, what that means is, so 47 is the 47th expedition, and 10 is the 10th planet that they have put under compliance. So there's a bunch of expeditions. So let's say you have the first expedition, and your first planet is called Planet 11. 10 is 47th expedition, and their 10th planet that they've conquered, let's say. So it's there's a lot of numbers that are kind of just, but that's kind of why it's called, you wouldn't say 4710 because it's 47-10. Anyway, so whenever time I say something like that, think about like the 47th expedition and whatever planet that they took over, or whatever It doesn't matter.
Got it.
So Monarchia is the capital of this planet 4710. And it is the most devout world in the Imperium, where every building, every monument was built as an act of worship of the Emperor of mankind. Which, I'm going to say right now, the Emperor, and I'm sure you know, does not like to be worshipped. His biggest thing is, do not worship me. Gods are fake. They're dumb. If you believe in God, you're an idiot. Super big atheist guy. Which, in a way, is kind of justified because of what he knows about the warp and the chaos gods. Now, he doesn't tell anybody about that. He just says, don't worship gods because I've seen what happens if you do that. Okay. Anyway, it's 157th year. I don't know if this is before or after the Emperor leaves. It might not be. I think it's before he leaves. But anyways, it's a new format. So this is Lorgar's planet. Lorgar is one of the Primarchs and a very religious guy. He was on this planet and he, they all worship gods. And Lorgar was like, I worship one god. And I'm telling you right now, one day he's going to be here and he's going to be so awesome. And then the Emperor shows up. And he says, I was right. Look, I was right. He showed up. My awesome dad is God. And the Emperor sees this and goes, what is this? I hate religion. He says, no, I built it for you. And he says, yeah, well, you need to take it down. And he goes, why? He said, because I don't want this. This is not allowed. And he says, I won't do it. And he says, okay, fine. Gilman, burn it all down. And then Gilman says, are you sure? Of course I'm sure. But give them 6 days to evacuate. I don't want them just dying. I don't want you killing people, right? Give them 6 days to evacuate the city, then burn to the ground. Destroy everything. I want it all gone. And that's kind of this picture here is kind of that. Is Gilliman kind of making basically Lorgar go on his knees and tell him, like, swear, like, that you won't do this anymore. That's the Custodian. That's Malkador with the flaming eagle.
And Lorgar is Primarch of which?
The Word Bearers.
Okay.
Which... they bear the word of the Emperor, right? And everything is in ruins, and it sucks right now. Lorgar is very upset, and he's kind of like, he's just like, why would he do that to me? Like, I built all this awesome stuff for him, and he spat in my face, basically. And he also tells him, basically, he says, also, let me look at the numbers. You guys aren't doing good in the Crusade at all. Like, Gilman here, he's put the numbers up. Lehman Russ, put the numbers up. I don't know what you guys are doing. So he's also just admonishing him there too. And Erebus, after they all leave, Erebus was the Lorgar, says, basically this quote from this book, The First Heretic, says, the Emperor is a god. We've taken the truth to the stars and seeded it across the Imperium. You should feel no shame for how we acted. So he's already put a little bit of that. There's a little bit of that right into his ear.
Yeah. So the Emperor does not want to kind of be worshipped as a god, but I guess, do people not know that, or?
Yes, it's something called the Imperial truth. It's basically, there are no gods. We're a very secular society. The Emperor is just a very strong guy, but he's not a god. Like, but like, to be fair, if you saw this guy, you would be like, this is the coolest you've ever seen. Giant claw, big flaming sword, like leading all of his guys in this great crusade. He has strongest psychic powers in the entire universe. Like, nobody is stronger than him with just like these magical powers he has. So it's not unrealistic for people to worship him. But, he specifically said, do not do that because I will get really mad. But,
Okay.
So 43 years later, after he burns down Monarchia, there was the Old Knight. And I'm not sure how much you know about the Old Knight.
Not much.
So it was before the Great Crusade, before the Primarchs, before all of that, there was a time where humanity had reached out the stars on their own. We had, think of it like Star Wars. It's all over the place, thousands of planets spread across the galaxy, colonies, trade routes, interstellar civilization. Everything was going great until it didn't, because that's how everything goes in Warhammer. Things were awesome until they're not. But warp storms started happening. These catastrophic, centuries-long disruptions that made travel between star systems impossible. So warp storm is basically a rift in the galaxy where the warp seeps through.
Yeah.
And you could try to pass it, but you're going to get eaten up and killed, probably, by whatever's in there. Whatever demons, monsters, even just the energies of it alone are just going to tear you up. Think of it just even in literal life, like, I need to drive my car over to your house, but on the way to your house, a giant lava river just is there.
Yeah.
And so I just can't get to you right now,
And so this is the big warp that we've talked about.
No, this isn't the what's it called?
Was it the Eye of Terror?
Yeah, the Eye of Terror.
Yeah, okay.
The Eye of Terror exists, but it's not that. Okay. Well, actually, I don't think the Eye of Terror exists yet. So my timeline's a little funky, but we'll get there. But just little storms, like
Okay.
little
like
lava,
a little mini one.
Yeah, there's little lava rivers that's like, I can't get to right now. But it's not even just like, oh, they'll fix it tomorrow. I'll be there tomorrow. It's like, no, this could be here for hundreds of years, and I have nowhere to get to you. But I bring you your food, so you're just gonna die off now because there's nowhere for you to go. And you bring in my trucks, and I don't have any trucks anymore, so now I'm going to die off because I can't have my transportation. So it's catastrophic. So humans devolve basically, and it's called the Age of Strife or the Old Night, and it lasts for thousands of years. During this time, that's when the Emperor shows up. And he goes, I'm here, everybody. I was hiding until you guys needed me most. It's like, wait, now? Not during like World War One, World War Two, you know, like nuclear thing. He's like, just shut up about that. Don't worry about that. I'm here now. And they go, okay. But he shows up with like a force. He doesn't just show up by himself, come out of the cave and go, hello, I'm here. He shows up with like a bunch of like these like proto space marines, the custodians, and all these like super soldiers with him. And then he just takes over the Earth. He unifies Terra by force. Unification wars are called. I don't know if we went over that at all.
I think so.
Techno-barbarians.
Yeah.
Okay, so the techno-barbarians, he wipes them out and blah, blah, blah. We do an episode on that at some point, but whatever. And then he goes out to start, does a great crusade. The empire is built on a single philosophy, the Imperial truth, that gods do not exist, religion is a disease, and superstition is what made Old Night possible. So basically, take down all your temples, take down all your religion, because that's what caused this to happen. And the Emperor kind of knows that to be true a little bit, because he knows if you worship gods, some of that energy will go into the Chaos Gods, thus causing them to get more power and cause warp storms. But he doesn't tell them that. He just says, stop doing all that worship stuff. And so there's this iterator, Kirill Cinderman. And Kirill Cinderman's kind of a big character, but we'll get into him over time. But he's just a regular human, but he's something called an iterator, which is basically a propagandist. He says, religion damned our species for thousands of years. From the lowest superstition to the highest conclaves of spiritual faith, it drove us to madness, to war, to murder. It hung upon us like a disease, like a shackle ball. And he says it's because they believe it. A lot of people believe it. I mean, look at the Crusades, right? That was really bad, you know. And he also says, we are mighty because we are right, Garviel. We are not right because we are mighty. Vile the hour when that reversal becomes our credo. So basically he says, like, he's like, look, we're totally justified in what we're doing. Like, don't get it twisted, Garviel and Garviel Loken. We think we talked about him a little bit, maybe. I'm not sure.
I think so.
But he's telling us, like, look, once we start, like, thinking just because we're strong, we're right, that is the problem. But right now, we're right.
And that's what makes us strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we have, I won't say faith, because that's a bad word, but we have trust in our institutions. The Imperial truth, right? And he also says, there are truths out there that would drive us mad by one fleeting glimpse of them. So he chooses not to share them with us. He's basically like, look, you guys are thinking too hard about this. Let's just don't worry about it. So, I'll ask you, like, how do you feel about it? Do you think that's effective? I mean, obviously you know what happens later on, but how do you think that works out for the Emperor being like, don't worry about anything about work like that?
Well, it's like the concept like, oh, just don't tell them about it. They just won't be interested. Like, we all know that's not kind of how that works. It's like, the more you say, oh, don't do that, it's like, somebody's going to go do it, right?
Don't look up these weird things on the internet.
Right.
Why not? Just don't.
Just right now.
Yeah. We go to the Ullanor, which I just told you about. This is vast orc empire. It takes a bunch of Primarchs all helping, thousands of Space Marines. They kill them. Anyways, Horus becomes Warmaster, blah, blah, blah. And he says, because it's a huge task he's giving him. Like, you gotta think about, making you king of the universe, basically. Not necessarily because he's still the emperor, but like, I'm making you Emperor's the president, but this guy's a 5-star general.
Right.
In charge of all the armies, the Marines, Army, Navy, Air Force, Space Force, whatever, right?
Right.
Yeah. You are my substitute. But that's an impossible task, even for a Primarch. Like, it's not even, like, think of being president of the world, a human being president of the entire world would be so impossible. But Horus, of course, says, I'll do it, and because you asked me to. I'll try my best. But this is what he says. And Horus Rising. Horus. Why have you tasked me with this, Father? Why have you forsaken me? Why? It is too hard. It is too much. Why do you leave me to do this on my own? Because even he's like, I can't do this. But it's definitely like a big deal that the Emperor left.
Right.
Because everybody's just like, yeah, we're all together. We beat the orcs. Awesome parade. And the Emperor goes, all right, see you guys later. You got a horse, right? You got it? You got it? And he's like walking away out the door. Yeah, all right, you got it. And the horse goes, sure. And yeah. So we're going to kind of move characters now to a guy named Garviel Loken, which we just kind of talked about. And Garviel Loken is the captain of the 10th Company Luna Wolves. And the Luna Wolves are Horus's guys. They changed names a couple times, but right now they're called the Luna Wolves. And Garviel Loken is a pretty good guy. He's kind of your everyman. You're just like, he's not doing anything crazy, but he's good at his job. I'll say that. And the book starts off, Horus Rising. literally says, I was there the day Horus slew the emperor. And it's like, which is a funny thing. Like, wait, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Kills the emperor? But it's a joke in the book. They're like, oh, what a funny joke. Because in context, it's referring to something else. But anyway, we'll get to that. So, Garviel Loken is part of something called the Mournival. And the Mournival is it's an inner council. So, Horus has like his guys. He has these guys, they call the Mournival, right? Those are his special guys that he basically advisors. Like, those are the guys that he says, okay, how's it looking out there, guys? And they all give him an update. He says, all right, sounds good. Keep doing what you're doing, you know? Because obviously he has to take care of, he's a Warmaster. He has to take care of everything else in the universe. So in his own chapter, he's like, all right, you guys good? All right, good. I need to go take care of, these huge things.
So this is kind of the Lunar Wolves, like, inner circle.
Yes,
Right, okay.
it's exactly what it is. There's 4 of them, and they're like, these 4-star generals, in a way. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's named that after the different phases of the moon: new, half, gibbous, and full. And also is a French word. I can't remember the French meaning. I think it's like something had to do with like cards. Like I think it's Jack, Queen, King, and Ace. Is with the Mournival. I might be totally wrong on that, but I know it's something French or something like that. There are 3 Mournival right now during this book. There is Abaddon, Torgadon, and Axamand. And they want Loken in the thing because Loken is just really good, and they're like, hey, he would be a great addition. Because one of their guys had just died. One of the 4th Mournival guy had just died, and we'll get to him in a second. But they induct Garviel into it. It's a whole thing with hooded figures, candles, sworn oaths. It's a whole classical, like, swear upon your right hand that you'll do all this stuff. And Loken is like, this seems weird. What's all this weirdness? This almost seems religious in nature. Anyways, so swear upon your right hand, swear upon this Bible.
Right.
And he's like, all right, I guess if you guys say so. So they do it. He goes, oh, awesome. But he does it, and he feels like, oh, that was a little icky. I didn't like doing that. But he says, whatever. Maybe I'm overthinking it. And I guess I'll ask you there. How do you feel about that with the Mournival?
I think it's interesting how kind of like the Emperor's like, oh, no religion stuff, and then he leaves and they're immediately like, but what if we did?
And that's interesting you bring that up because that is a thing. So we'll probably get into it a little later, but there's something called lodges that are like, think of fraternities, think of
It does feel very fraternal, kind of
right.
the stuff that they're doing right
Masons, Freemasons.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, no, it's not religious. It's just guys being dudes. We're just hanging out, just drinking beers. Don't even worry about it. But Loken is like, there's something weird going on here. So you're good for feeling that. But we're gonna go to a second thread here, which is on Caliban. And Caliban is the planet of Lionel Johnson, who is another Primarch of the Dark Angels. And the Dark Angels are the first chapter. Not because they were found first, it's just they're the first Space Marine chapter made. So they definitely have that. They have a little bit of a superiority about them because like we know what we're doing, They get a little, but they're also very secretive. So Caliban was a death world, and it was like this, think like Arthurian mythical beasts in these massive forests that are just like so dangerous, like the 4-armed bear or like the dragon or all that type of stuff. Lionel Johnson lands there as a baby. He grows up and he starts killing all these beasts because he's a freak. Omni-Man shows up and it's just like, oh, I guess all that trouble we were having, this guy just fixed all that problem for us. And eventually the Emperor shows up and says, you're my son. And Lion goes, okay, makes sense. You're cool. I'm cool. All right, I'll hang out with you. And he takes all of his best warriors with him as well and says, give me your best guys. But there's one guy named Luther. I forgot to show you the picture of the Lunar Wolves and Horus. That's kind of what they got going on. This guy Luther. Or this is what Caliban looks like. You see very castle, medieval style things. And that's the lion. So this is Luther. And Luther is, in a way, he's the lion's dad. Which is weird because the lion is bigger than him. And looks older than him. But that's because his primary genes or whatever. But Luther kind of found him as a baby, took him in, trained him, stood beside him when he united Caliban under one banner of the lion. But the Luther got left behind for the Great Crusade. So they all took all his best warriors and then Lion tells Luther, hey, I need you to stay here and like train the soldiers to to go with us.
Is he a space marine or is he just...
He is not. He was too old to go into the process to become a space marine. Now, he looks like one in the picture, but it's because they gave him like the closest thing they could give him without making him one. So he's like a semi-space marine, gene therapy, but not technically a space marine. He's a really good guy.
Got it.
Just really good, like, you know, he's superhuman. Think like Bane, right?
Right, yeah.
Juiced up on chemicals makes him all strong.
Yeah.
But he's not Superman, you know, where it's like, oh, he's just, I guess Superman doesn't really count, but like,
He doesn't have superpowers roided up.
yeah, exactly. They gave him the best juice they could give him instead of like, we took you as like a 5-year-old and then did this whole process to make you into like a spaceman. Think of it like a Spartan from Halo.
Right.
Whereas like they go through a whole process of like these 10-year-olds and then they get all these things. Luther was like already 30 when they showed up, so it's like you would die if we did this to you. So we'll just give you like a bunch of shots, make you. It's like a GED versus a high school diploma. It's basically functionally the same thing, but
So there's some difference.
So Luther gets left behind to like help train on the planet, and Luther feels a certain way about it because even though Lion told him, he was like, "Look, you'll basically take over. Take my place. I'll give you the title. You have authority over everything here, and you're the guy. I'm gone. You're the guy." Very similar to how with Horus, right?
Right.
But Luther obviously, you know, is a little different. He's just kind of regular human. And he says, oh, okay, I mean, I can't stop you. So kind of sucks that you leave me behind. I was like, I want to go join you. I want to go fight in the stars. It's awesome. And he's like, you got it. You got it here. So Luther responds to this. He says, it is always the way with conquerors. They don't say they have come to destroy your traditions. They don't talk about banishing the wisdoms of your grandfathers, turning the world upside down, or replacing your ancient beliefs with strange new creed of their devising. No one willingly admits they want to undermine your society's foundations and kill its dreams. Instead, they talk about saving you from your ignorance. They came in here, they said, hey, all that weird Arthur medieval nice stuff, we're not doing that anymore. You're doing our thing now. And don't worry, we're saving you. And he goes, sure you are. But, all right, so Luther gets left behind, and 53 years passes. And Luther is still there doing his job. And Lion has not come back since. 53 years is a very long time. Now, obviously, Luther is all chemically enhanced, so it's not like he's an old man now, like hobbling around a cane, like he's never come back. He still looks like that, you know?
Okay.
Because he's all enhanced. But he's just like, man, like, I'm still a human way of, like, I perceive time. 53 years, dude, like, that's a long time to never see your son again.
Right.
Who said he would come back and visit, you know? But Luther does his job pretty good, pretty well. He builds something incredibly remarkable. Like Caliban is governed, productive, orderly, and he did exactly what he asked him to the best of his ability, and he did it really well. So this guy Zariel, who's another Dark Angel, says in the book Fallen Angels, Luther marched at the head of the column like a conquering hero, returning to Caliban in glory rather than exile. It was an impressive performance, Zariel thought, but he wondered if any of his brothers were fooled by it. So Zariel says that, he says, oh, like Luther's here marching like a conquering hero. He's like, here I am. Guys, I'm here to train you guys, make sure you're ready for the thing. And that's my job now, whatever. But Zariel's like, I can tell he's pissed.
Right.
Like, I see looking at his face, he's like, no, are you sure you're not mad? No, dude, it's fine.
It's fine.
He'll say, he'll visit us. So, yeah, he feels a certain way about it. So, Lion leaves him behind. And I'm going to ask you, how do you feel about that?
Well, like you said, it's a pretty obvious parallel between the Emperor and Horus, which is interesting because to me, it seems like he's going to go kind of a similar route.
Right.
That Horus goes down.
You think that picture?
I would say the picture kind of tells me the vibe we're going to go for. It's like, okay.
You think Luther's going to do something bad, maybe? Well, who knows? But anyways, so now we're going to jump to another thread. And this is with Fulgrim. And you know Fulgrim.
Yes.
This guy. And that's him with the Laer blade. Fulgrim is the Primarch of the 3rd Legion, Emperor's Children. And Emperor's Children are called that because they were the best, like one of the best legions. They had a lot of problems, but they're one of the best legions. Fulgrim is also called the Phoenician. And he's called that because Legion was nearly destroyed before it began. Their GNC was corrupted. They had like 3,000 warriors left. And he rebuilt it from almost nothing over decades fighting alongside Luna Wolves and earning Horus' deep respect. So they basically called him the Phoenician because like you rose from the ashes like a phoenix. Him and Horus are pretty close. Not as close as he is with Ferrus Manus, but they're pretty close.
Right.
Most people like Fulgrim. I mean, some people don't because he's a little full of himself. But I mean, like, it makes sense why. He's one of the best. He's perfection in all things type of guy. He's exceptional at war. He's cultured. He's relentless. Like, he's not just a brute, right? He loves art. He loves sculptures. He loves music. He is you know, everything you want in a guy like that.
I know when we talked about it the other time, they came across as like very vain.
Yes, I mean he's definitely full of himself. He's not humble in any way. He knows he's perfect. Like there's no question about it. So during this book, which is a book called Fulgrim, he makes contact with the Laer, and the Laer are this snake-like alien species that are pretty strong, but eventually, you know, with everything, the Fulgrim and his guys eventually kill them all. And they said there's something weird about these snake people. Like they're acting weird. They like being hurt. They have this like mist they release when they fight. But Fulgrim and his guys have no idea that they're just like, wow, these guys are really strong for some reason, and they're like being hurt. It's kind of weird. So eventually they kill them all, and 3 months later, every Laer stronghold is dismantled and their civilization is ended. Total genocide. All of them are dead. But on the final day, Fulgrim leads this assault on their most sacred temple. This like really is called, I think it's called the Coral Temple, I think, or something like that, where it's like this music is coming out of it. It's like this like grand cathedral. Think of it like a city opera house, right? Like there's like place for the arts. And they get inside and the air is thick with this like perfume smoke.
Yes.
You know, like this, the orgy scene, like the hunchback goes in and he talks to, what's his name? Xerxes?
Oh, yeah.
He's talking to Xerxes, and it's like all these performers are dancing. There's a hookah smoke everywhere. It's like that, right? It's like, it's such an affront to the senses. So we get in there, and the walls are covered with these murals, and hundreds of these Laer are writhing on the floor, and they're like entwined, and they're like doing all this weird stuff. Like, what are they doing? And then one of them's like, it kind of looks like they're kind of like having sex. And he's like, what? What? You're crazy. Kill him. He's like, that's what? I don't even know what that is. I'm a space marine. And they don't really, that's what they said. It kind of looks like they're doing that, but they're also like dying, and they're also like high on drugs. Like they can't really, they said it looks like they're having some type of intercourse, but like, they don't even know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stimulus going on, and the space marines luckily have like, you know, the physiology is like, can handle that. But it's just still like, what is happening in here? In the middle of this room, they see Fulgrim sees this black marble stone with a sword stuck in it. And he goes, ooh, I want that. And he walks over and pulls it out. Where they go to attack him. He says, get away from me. He kills them all. And while they're dying, and this guy Julius is with them, and he says, what are they killing him? And they're like they make all these weird sounds. And he's like, what? And then Julius asks, like, what are they doing? Are they dying, or are they having a good, like, what is going on here? And then his Fulgrim says, well, if they are, then it seems to be a very pleasurable death. And he's like, just kill them all. I don't want to see this nastiness anymore.
Yeah.
He picks up the sword and he keeps it because he's like, this thing looks really like well made, and you can see in the picture there, it's like this fancy sword with all these different stones in it. And now we're gonna jump forward a little bit, not forward, but we're gonna jump to another character here called Erebus, and everybody knows Erebus. This guy, real nasty guy.
And you mentioned him in the beginning, right?
Lorgar.
Yes.
After Monarchia burns down, Lorgar asks out, she says, if the Emperor is not a god, are there any gods at all? And then he talked to Magnus, and Magnus is the most powerful psyker among the Primarchs. And, you know, being a psyker is dangerous because you're basically using powers from the warp. And think of it like a wild magic sorcerer in D&D, right? Like, sure, you could just cast Fireball, but now you gotta roll on the table and see if a demon shows up too when you did that.
Right.
Magnus tells Lorgar, he says, do not hunt for something to worship merely because your faith was proven false. Magnus, big thinker. He says, look, be careful. Just because that didn't work out doesn't mean you're like, I need to worship something else. It's like, no, you don't. You need to relax. Lorgar's like, yeah, whatever. And he looks anyways. And he tells the word bearers, he says, on a 3-year campaign, he calls a pilgrimage. He says, I want you to go out, way out into space, going to the Eye of Terror. And I want you to investigate that. See what's going on over there. There's some weird things happening over there. And they don't really know what's going on. They know there's a big warp storm. They don't know anything about the warp at all because nobody's ever told them. And they do. And they go out there and they find a bunch of gods and stuff like that. And it's very real. And they speak to Lorgar directly. And the word bearers come back and they know things that no human is supposed to know, that chaos is real and that 4 gods rule the warp. And the Emperor has been lying to his entire species about the nature of reality. It's kind of one of the most important events in the Horus Heresy because nobody knows about chaos at all. And everything Erebus does is because of this moment. Once he finds out that there are these grand powers out there, he just kind of gets that wheel turning. So Erebus, he's sort of scheming, as he does. And he realized, like, look, we can't challenge the Emperor directly. That's just suicide. He's going to just turn us into ashes, right? So what if we just kind of work around him? You know, oh, you have this big castle that stands there. I can't do anything about it. What if I dig a moat around you? Or what if I dig under you and collapse it from underneath? So that's what he does. He starts thinking, okay, what if I mess with the closest person closest to him? Not Melchador, right? Because that's crazy too. What about Horus, right? So he goes to this planet called Davin. And Davin it's under compliance. It's been in compliance like 60 years now. So they've been chilling. And there's a lodge there, which lodges are usually considered bad because it's just fraternity, so it's usually not. But it's usually, like, they don't like secret societies because, like, no, anything you can tell your brothers in secret society, you can tell all your brothers.
Right.
No secrets. But Erebus doesn't care. And most Space Marines don't really care because they can't help it, right? They're boys, they're brothers. That's what brothers do. They hang out. He starts doing his machinations and make sure the right things were in the right places at the right time to kind of get some of those lodge members around the Warmaster, around in the Luna Wolves. He gets himself assigned to the Vengeful Spirit. And the Vengeful Spirit is Horus's flagship. It's his main ship, right? And as a liaison, basically as the go-through between the Word Bearers and the Luna Wolves. And Erebus is there, kind of mostly talking to Horus, right? And nobody questions it. They're like, of course, brothers gotta work together. I mean, sure, why not, Erebus? I've only heard good things about Erebus. So he starts trying to find a way to get things rolling here with Horus. And he starts whispering in his ear, talking to him, and says, oh, we need to do this, this, and this. Oh, you need to go here and do this, this, and this. And Horus is like, okay, all right, I think that's a good idea, you know? He's not like he's evil, like Vizier, like what's his name from Aladdin, right? Yep. He's just a sneaky guy. Now, we're going to move into another point with we're going to go back to Garviel Loken.
Okay. So the Word Bearers, since they kind of discover the Eye of Terror and all this kind of stuff, are they kind of already in like the Chaos Space Marine territory? Or are they? Not
really, actually. It's a very slow burn. So now a lot of the guys that went over there, not all the Word Bearers, just a handful of them went over there. So like Erebus definitely is. He's at this point now where he's being like real sneaky, real, just kind of, you know, scheming.
Yeah.
But there's another guy named Ardal Tal, which we'll get to. He doesn't even really know what he saw. He's like, I saw something, but I don't know what it was. And I don't want to name it. But I was kind of like mutating him a little bit. Like he has like clawed fingers now, and he's like, I don't know what's happening to me. So it's still a little mixed bag.
Okay.
So it does take time to kind of spread and, you know, deal with Horus to like go poison his own guys. He'll let Lorgar handle that.
Right.
So we're going to go back to the first thread where we're talking about Garviel Loken and the Luna Wolves. And the Luna Wolves they arrive at this planet called, I guess it's just this third planet, right? And there's humans on this planet, and it is a thriving civilization that survived the old night, didn't die off, and they're killing it. So I'm the Emperor of Mankind. And they go, no, you're not. He goes, yes, I am. And they go, wait, hold on. They say, look, it is what it is. Let's just talk about this, right? So they say basically, join us or die. And he says, no, I'm not going to do that because I'm the Emperor of Mankind. And they go, all right, whatever, fine. And then they send a space marine down named Hastur Sejanus. And Hastur Sejanus is part of the Mournival. So the four Mournival guys, Tarek, Torgadon, Abaddon, and Aximand, and Sejanus. Now, I kind of spoiled a little bit earlier, but Sejanus gets sent down, and Horus is very close to Janus. He's like one of his specialist guys. Obviously, he is because he's in the Mournival, but like they're even closer than that. So he sends him down because he's also a good diplomat. He knows how to talk. He knows how to get the people to listen. He descends in this gilded shuttle, walks into the palace, and approaches the throne. And he says, "I'm here to talk to you."
Are these just regular humans? These are
yes, but they're okay. I mean, they're still pretty. Like they have like laser guns. Like they're pretty well equipped. So these Invisibles, they're called the Invisibles, but the Invisible Elite Bodyguard kill Sejanus. And they kill him, and then they send his body back. Basically, send his head back, right? Because he didn't kneel to their emperor. And Horus is, oh man, is he mad? He's like, oh, wait a minute. You just killed one of my specialist boys? He said, that's it. They're all dead. He said, I can't just do that. These guys are humans like us. And I'm going to send in one more guy. Just one more guy. Let's see what happens. And the second convoy gets shot out of the sky. And Horus says, all right, that's it. It's over. We're done. you guys are you're done. You killed my closest friend, and I'll let that slide. And then you kill my guys again. Oof, I shouldn't even let you. I shouldn't even give you a second chance. So here we go. Right, straight war. I mean, it is totally one sided.
Right.
Killing the one space marine. I'm sending thousands on your planet. All my ships. We're blowing you up from space. It's over. And the high city falls in days. In the ruins of the throne room, Garviel Loken is down there. They secure the area, and they fight the Invisibles. And the Invisibles, they're still pretty tough because they're invisible guys. You don't know where they are, but they kind of can figure out like based on where they move. And you can hear them walking, and like, I mean, you're dealing with elite space marines here. So they figure out they kill them all, and the Emperor, there's a guy sitting on the throne. That's like this old man. He's like, oh, the Emperor. And when the guy goes like, get him, they're like, wait a minute, it's a trap. And the guy explodes. But it was like a body double. And the real Emperor was there invisible the whole time. And then Horus beams into the room, teleports in the room, and he sees his real Emperor. And then he just turns him into ash, turns him into a skeleton. And Horus is just standing over, just looking at him. Because that's the meme, right? Because it's just like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
But no one finds it funny that, really funny. Because it's like, it's true, but it's like, oh, like, this is like, we kind of like they don't like killing humans. Killing aliens is one thing. Whatever, we kill these weird snake guys. That's nothing. We have to kill our own people.
Right.
So I guess I'll do a little check in here. Do you think that the Horus was reasonable there, or?
I would say so. And then a degree. I mean, the
like, would you have given him a second chance?
No.
It was closest friend first.
The immediate thing I thought of was the meme where it's like coughing baby versus like nuclear bomb.
Basically.
And the coughing baby is rage baiting a nuclear bomb.
Right.
It's like, why?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And he does it, and it's bad news. Yeah. So we'll pause on there, and then we'll go back to Caliban. So 53 years later, the line returns. And he's like, I want to see what's going on here. He inspects, and he's like, Luther, you've been doing a great job. Killing it. You're doing great, buddy. And he's like, all right, I'll see you later. And Luther is like, okay, man, that, like, all right, cool. And Luther says, he said that one of the so there's just rebels on the planet. There's always rebels on every planet, right? Of course, gonna have that sci-fi rebel. And this is what one of the Calibanite rebels had told Luther. He said that Johnson betrayed us all. The forests are gone, but the monsters still remain. And that's what the Caliban rebel said, basically, that like the lion, like, he left us here, but like there's still bad things going on. So, and Luther kind of simmers on it. He's like, is he wrong? I don't know. Now there's this kind of fracture forming between the Dark Angels that went to the Crusade and those who stayed on the planet. But every time these veterans of the Great Crusade, Dark Angels return and talk to the ones on the planet, there's a difference there, and they feel that difference. They know there's something's a little, like, they're kind of being a little high and mighty over us. I don't like that, you know? So there's definitely some type of weird thing going on here. And Luther definitely feels it the most. Because, honestly, he's like, look, I'm better than these guys you brought with you. Like, I know I am. Like, I'm not even a space marine, and I could, you know, so every time he sees these guys come back, these guys on the Great Crusade having a great time. Like, oh, you should have seen on this planet, we killed all these guys on these. They're just sitting there, simmering, getting angry. I should be me. It should have been me, not him. So he, you know, has to sit with that. So, in like we said, that parallel, the Lion and the Emperor are making the same mistake at the same time. They both trust completely in someone that cannot handle this responsibility. And the Emperor left Horus without explanation, and the Lion has left Luther without acknowledging any of the hard work he's putting in.
Right.
So we're going to go back now to Garviel Loken's guys. So Garviel Loken they wrap up that campaign on that planet. They killed the fake Emperor, and he takes his squad into kind of just a cleanup detail to make sure everything is sorted out here. And they go into a place called the Whisperhead Mountains. And just make sure no more rebels are hiding in the mountains, right? And he gets there, and there's a voice comes through their like speakers, the little like box, this little their head earpieces, whatever you want to call them. And it's his voice that goes, Samus. That is the only name you'll hear. Samus. It means the end and the death. Samus. I am Samus. Samus is all around you. Samus is the man beside you. Look out. Samus is here. And they're like, who is doing that? Like, who keeps saying that? And there's like, they're just doing psychological warfare. Don't listen to it. All right. And they're like, okay, it's weird though. Like, I just keep hearing it. And then eventually, actually, there's kind of like a twist at one point where there's this guy walking around, and then he doesn't have like any special suit or anything like that. He's like talking to me or whatever, and they're like, "Man, can we get that like voice turned off?" And the guy says, "You guys hearing that voice too?" He's like, "Yeah." He's coming through the box. He's like, "No, it's not." He's like, "What?" And he's like, "I'm not wearing a box." So he's hearing this voice in his head too, but he's not even wearing any of the. So he's like, "Oh, this isn't."
Yeah.
They know something's wrong now, but it's too late because they turn off the radio. So Loken goes down into this cave with some other Luna Wolves, and there's a guy down there named Xavier Jubal. And Xavier Jubal is a 20-year veteran, trusted soldier, good guy, nothing wrong with him. But he sees like in this like waterfall, there's like they're in this cave, there's like water trickling down the cave.
I have not.
I don't know if you've ever been in caverns where like the water will run down the wall and it kind of makes these little grooves in the wall.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of like that. They see this, but then Jubal starts to like see writing form in the water, and he's just like, no, I swear it said something. And then he's like starts getting a little weird. He's like, getting these headaches, something like that. And they're like, what's wrong with you, Jubal? Get some sense into you. And he says, no, I think I'm good. And he turns around. And he's all weird now. His eyes are all yellow. His teeth get all big. He's like, what's going on? What's wrong with you? And he's like, his arms get huge, his claws starts like transforming in front of them. And like, what's going on with you? He starts killing these guys, killing these other Luna Wolves. That's not possible. You can't kill. Space Marines can't kill each other. Like it's genetically not possible. But he's doing it. He's doing it easily. I mean, it's keep doing Invincible references. It's Omni-Man. I guess most people just mushing them, smashing heads, and they're like, Loken is like, what's like? I need to stop you. So he's trying to like choke him out or like try to knock him out, but he can't. He's just like not. He's like made of like stone. He's just like. So eventually takes out like his bow gun and just shoots him, and he's just like, he feels bad. He's like, I just killed my brother, and he's like, no. He's like, don't worry, that wasn't him. That was some other weird freak thing. So they're kind of like standing around after he kills him, and there's like this, like, what just happened? What was that? Like, because they don't know about chaos. They don't know about demons. They don't know anything like that. So was it an alien parasite? Was it like some weird disease? Which like that shouldn't be possible. Like we're space marines, don't get diseases. So, and there's a couple of humans in the room. A woman named Euphrates Keeler, I think Ignis Carcassy might have been there, and then somebody else. And Ignis Carcassy said, and also another guy is there too, and he gets killed because I think like Joel picks him and like throws him in the wall, and he turns like meat. It's smashed against the wall. He has his giant teeth. I think it eats the face off another guy. It's a brutal scene in the book. But Ignis Carcassy says, perhaps we are cursed to crave something that which does not exist. There are no gods, no spirits, no demons, so we make them up to comfort ourselves. He's basically saying, like, look, I don't know what you guys saw. There's no demons. Come on now. But people are like, no, I swear I saw something. And it's like, no, it's probably just like a weird mutation. You guys are we're just trying to fill in the blanks here. I understand what you're doing. Magical thinking. You relax. And Ignis Carcassy is not a space marine. He's a regular remembrancer like human. So, he kind of just says that. He says, you guys are overthinking it. And they're like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. So Keeler took a picture of Jubal when he was the demon. Because she's like, we got to see what this is. And she sees she gets like a double picture somehow. She sees his face, Jubal's face, over this monster's face. Like there's like two faces in one. There's a really double exposure picture somehow. She's like, I don't know how that would happen. It's just going a little crazy. She's like, I don't know, like, what did I see in down there, right? But she believes, she's just believing in something. But she doesn't know what. But she starts like having this weird like crisis of faith. And she shows a picture to Loken. And Loken just keeps looking at it. He's like, I don't know, like, what am I looking at? But Loken is brainwashed space marine. So he can't see it the way she can see. She's a regular human. So she's seeing like something there. She's like, there's something here, but he's like, no, you're being crazy. You need to relax. And so, yeah. So before we go to the next part, what do you think about that?
It's like the gaslighting is crazy.
Oh yeah,
like no, it can't be. It's like, well, what else would it be?
This is what Jubal Samus looks like.
Yeah, like seeing a dude, or the space marine, right?
He kind of so it's a space marine that kind of turned into like a mix of that and like this is like it's basically mixed with that and like I don't have a picture of him, but they kind of mix together.
Yeah,
you see this like weird like, demon thing.
Seeing that pop out of nowhere, it's like, oh, maybe it's just a parasite thing.
So I mean, yeah, it's they're trying to justify it and they can't because they have no words for this thing.
Yeah, and it's coming up in like most of the kind of plot lines like this where it's like, it's one of the, like we talked about earlier, it's like the more you don't tell someone about something, they're like, oh, don't worry about that. It's like now they're starting to be like, they're finding out for themselves and like, what is
in
this?
the worst way possible, like seeing a demon possess like your friend, and it's like
yeah.
So moving to the next part here, we'll kind of wrap up here, but basically, this is kind of all what's happening at the beginning of, shortly after, I guess not really the beginning because it's about almost 100 years after. It's been like a couple decades after Horus becomes Warmaster. Because Luther got left on Caliban before Horus became Warmaster. So, yeah, that's kind of what's all going on right now. In our first thread with Loken, we have Keeler took a picture of something, and Kirill is trying to fill in the blanks. So another thing that Loken ends up finding in his quarters is the silver medallion, this lodge medallion. He has no idea how it got there. Because he's like, I don't mess around with lodges. So somebody must have put this here. But he's like, I should just throw it away. But he's like, well, hold on. On our second thread with Luther, Luther's there, and he's starting to have that real, like, he's starting to get some weird thoughts he shouldn't get. And also the guys around him too are starting to feel it too. They're like, man, we should be out there, you know? Our third thread with Fulgrim, he picks up the Laer blade and it starts speaking to him. And he's starting to get weird thoughts too. Obsession with perfection and all that. Our fourth thread is with Erebus and him doing, you know, his sneaky stuff behind the scenes. But we didn't get too much into Erebus right now. But that's kind of what's happening all at the same time here. So yeah, we'll pause there. But before we wrap up though, do you have any questions about anything?
I don't think I have any questions. I mean, I think it's interesting kind of how there's all these threads going on, but you can tell that they're all
Bad.
kind of working towards, like bad, but they're all working towards kind of the same end result.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, it is, and that's kind of interesting. It's like you have all these four different things happening that are all under one pattern, basically. All these different people dealing with something that is all bad. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, hopefully this... I mean, what do you think about this format? Do you think it's good?
I liked it. I think it's a lot easier to kind of follow, for me at least, and get a big picture idea of what's going on all at the same time.
Instead of like me going, okay, so this book is about this. Okay, now we're going to jump back a little bit in this book. Then we're going to jump forward again in this book. And then we're going to get...
Because, like, I think if you go... At least with some of the books, because I know, like, there's, like, the Fulgrim book, and that'll go through that whole story. But then there's also, like, I don't know, the Erebus book. So, like, they intertwine a lot, but then here in each book,
jumping around.
And so I think I like this because it kind of gives me that beginning.
Yeah.
And, like, I can see kind of the direction everything's going with what I know so far.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So, all right, well, perfect then. I guess we'll keep doing this then, and hopefully the audience likes it. Well, thank you guys for listening or watching or whatever you're doing, and see you for the next one. Bye.